The rotational molding area is located in the PET Plastic Processing Lab. The molds for the rotational molder can be found in a cabinet above the workbench. All hardware can be found in the rightmost drawer directly below the workbench. All tools needed for assembly, disassembly, and mold cleaning can be found on a shadow board directly above the workbench. Preheat the oven by closing and latching the door. Turn on the oven by flipping the switch to manual heat. Set your oven temperature between 300 and 500 degrees Fahrenheit, as defined by the processing parameters of polyethylene. Gather the mold that will be used and the raw material. In this case, we are using the baseball mold. The raw material can be found in a plastic bin under the workbench. The rotomolding volume and area formulas can be found on the inside door of the mold cabinet. Draw a schematic of your mold. In this case, we are using the baseball mold. Determine the radius of the mold and the radius of your part based on the desired wall thickness of your part. To determine the mass of the material needed, first determine the volume of the mold. Second, determine the thickness of the part wall. Third, determine the volume of the inside of the part. Fourth, subtract the volume of the inside of the part from the volume of the mold to determine the volume needed. Finally, convert volume to mass using the density equation. The density of high molecular weight polyethylene is approximately 0.933 grams per centimeters cubed. Now do the calculations! Weigh your material using the balance located in the analytical lab. To turn on the balance, press the red power button. Next, take your empty container and place it on the balance. Zero the balance. Pour your raw material into your empty container to the specified mass that is needed. Turn off your balance by pressing the red power button. Before filling your mold with material, apply silicone mold release to the surface. Do this for both sides of the mold. If desired, nitrile gloves can be found on the west wall in the analysis lab. Safety precaution: apply your mold release above the workbench to prevent any of it from getting on the floor. Pour your weighed material into the prepared mold. Assemble your mold using the hardware in the drawer. In this case, we are using 2 Allen bolts and 2 nuts. Using a wrench and an Allen wrench, tighten the bolts. Hot gloves must be worn while unloading and loading your mold in the rotomolder. They can be found in the middle drawer under the workbench. It is highly recommended that the Kevlar sleeve be worn in addition to the hot gloves in order to prevent burns to your arm. Unlatch and open the door to the rotomolder. Retrieve your mold. Insert the mold into the rotating arm. Secure the mold using a cotter pin, which is located in the hardware drawer. Before processing, turn the motor on and ensure that the rotomolder is functioning with 2 axes of rotation. If it is not, contact a professor or lab TA for assistance. If the 2 axes of rotation are functioning correctly, you may start your process. Latch the rotomolding door in 3 locations. The bottom and the 2 top latches should be engaged. To start your process, turn on the motor and allow your part to form for a predetermined amount of time. Do not leave the rotomolding machine unattended. Caution: the mold is extremely hot, and hot gloves should be worn. There are 4 ways to cool your mold. Remove your mold and place it on the aluminum table for a predetermined amount of cooling time. Remove your mold and gently drop it into a bucket of water. Your part has now been quenched. Remove your mold and place it on the aluminum counter. Using the spray bottle filled with water, spray your mold. Remove your mold and cool it by keeping it in constant movement. You can disassemble the mold before it is fully cooled, but hot gloves should be worn. In this example, the mold is completely cooled. To disassemble the mold, use the wrench and Allen wrench to unscrew and remove the hardware. Using the brass tools and a mallet, open the mold on the wooden surface. Remove your part using the brass tools. Using the copper wool, clean any residual material off the surface of your mold.